Haunted, The Queen Mary by Teresa Shea. Have you ever seen a figure appear or disappear in front of your eyes? Have you ever heard voices in an empty room? Even if you haven't, many people say they have. Some unexplained events make us wonder if ghosts really do exist. Certain places seem to have more unexplained phenomena than others, and so they're called haunted. The ship Queen Mary is one such place. It's no ordinary vessel. Visitors have seen slamming doors, felt instant temperature changes, and even heard screams, though no one was there. Is it haunted? Read on to find out Queen Mary's spooky history. The Queen Mary wasn't always known as a haunted ship. Construction on the vessel began in Scotland in 1930. Owned by Cunard Line, a British-American company, it was built to be a superliner. Though the Great Depression slowed construction, the ship, then called Job Number 534, was first launched in 1934. That same year, the ship was named. By 1936, the Queen Mary was ready for its first voyage. On its sixth journey, it broke a speed record, becoming one of the fastest passenger ships of its day. The Queen Mary was soon called the most celebrated ocean liner in the world. The Cunard Line officials told King George V they wanted to name the ship for England's greatest queen, meaning 19th century ruler Queen Victoria. But the king said, "My wife will be delighted that you are naming the ship after her." And so the ship was called the Queen Mary instead. The Queen Mary wasn't just fast, it was luxurious. The ship boasted 5 dining rooms, 2 swimming pools, a ballroom for dancing, and even a small hospital. Beautiful wood, glass, and marble were used in its construction. Murals, paintings, and carvings decorated rooms. Adding to the glamour of the ship were the major Hollywood stars who walked the decks, including Elizabeth Taylor, Audrey Hepburn, Bing Crosby, Fred Astaire, and Clark Gable. World leaders such as Dwight Eisenhower, who traveled on the ship before becoming U.S. President, and British Prime Minister Winston Churchill were also passengers. Churchill sometimes used the Queen Mary as an office. The Queen Mary had been carrying passengers for just 3 years when World War II began. The vessel had already proven to be a fast passenger ship, plus it had more room to carry thousands of people and was ideal for transporting troops. The outside of the ship was repainted gray, leading to its nickname, the Gray Ghost, and many of its luxury items were removed. In 1942, the ship reached another record by carrying more than 10,000 people at once. It would soon break this record. In 1943, the Queen Mary held its greatest number of passengers, 16,683. Churchill said the ship was invaluable to the war effort. At the close of World War II, the Queen Mary had one more duty. Some American and Canadian soldiers had married European women while they were serving overseas. The Queen Mary reunited the families, bringing thousands of women and children to North America. The Queen Mary was repainted and resumed its regular voyages after World War II. However, the world was changing. New boats offered the latest luxuries, such as air conditioning. In 1954, about 1 million people traveled by ship and 600,000 by plane. But by 1965, about 650,000 traveled by ship and about 4 million by plane. Airplanes had clearly become the most popular way to travel. In 1966, Cunard put the Queen Mary up for sale. In 1967, Long Beach, California paid $3.45 million for the ship. The Queen Mary took its last transatlantic voyage that year. Once docked in Long Beach, it became a museum and a hotel. The once glamorous ship of the stars became a hero of World War II. So far, the history of Queen Mary sounds perfect. So where do the stories of hauntings come from? A sailing vessel often has its share of deaths. A ship can be dangerous for many reasons, including possible drowning, crashes, and machinery accidents. And ships in wartime are even more dangerous since enemies work to blast them out of the water. At least 49 people died aboard the Queen Mary over the years, yet the ship is said to be home to as many as 150 different spirits. Keep reading to learn some spine-tingling tales. The Queen Mary had two swimming pools, one for the first-class passengers and one for those in second class. If you were to peer into the first-class pool room, you might see wet footprints appear on the dry ground. You might hear splashing, though no one is around. You might even see women in 1930s-style swimsuits in the pool. All these supernatural events have been reported by pool room visitors. In the second-class pool room, some people see the ghost of a little girl named Jackie. It's thought that Jackie drowned in the pool. She doesn't seem to be an unhappy spirit. Many accounts say they hear laughter. As a World War II transport ship, the Queen Mary took many soldiers to the front lines of battle, as many as 16,000 at a time. Some of these men and women never returned. This sad fact alone makes people believe they see soldiers walking the deck, perhaps hoping to return to their loved ones. However, one event stands out during the war as the cause of great suffering. The Queen Mary was such an advantage to the Allies that German leader Adolf Hitler offered a reward to any captain who could sink it. Therefore, other ships often accompanied the Queen Mary to protect it. On October 2, 1942, a German U-boat was sighted near the Queen Mary as it sailed to Scotland. The Queen Mary moved in a zigzag motion to avoid being an enemy target. The small warship guarding the Queen Mary, the HMS Curacao, cut too close to it. The huge troops ship hit the Curacao, slicing the warship in two and greatly damaging its own bow. Over 300 people died. The Queen Mary was under orders not to stop, so the crew couldn't even help the survivors. Other guard ships picked up some men, many of whom died later. Door 13 of the Queen Mary's engine room has proven itself to be more than unlucky. It's deadly. The engine room is 50 feet below water level. Crews once practiced drills there in case of a leak occurred. In 1966, during one of those drills, 18-year-old John Petter was killed. He may have been playing a game, jumping back and forth between passages as the doors automatically closed. Others say he was trying to squeeze by the door to get a wrench. Either way, the heavy door marked the number 13, crushed Petter, killing him. John Petter's unfortunate accident isn't the end of the story. After his death, crewmen began seeing a young man who looked like Petter, bearded and wearing blue overalls, in the hall near door 13. Sometimes the man would ask for his wrench and then disappear before their eyes. A woman who knew nothing of Petter's story saw a figure suddenly appear near door 13. Asked later to pick out a photo of the man she had seen, she chose Petter's photo. Even spookier, people on tours have reported being smeared with grease as they walk through door 13. Senior second-class officer William Stark was a Navy officer traveling aboard the Queen Mary in 1949. One night he decided to pour himself a drink while waiting for some friends to finish work. He grabbed a bottle and poured himself a glass of the clear liquid. Because he had added lime, it took a few sips before he realized it wasn't what he thought it was. It turned out the crew was storing a cleaning liquid called tetrachloride in the bottle. Stark laughed about his mistake at first. However, he became sick and was dead 4 days later. Now that you've heard about Jackie, John Pedder, the Caraccio, and William Stark, do you believe, like many others, that the Queen Mary is haunted? Remember, some people think there are more than 100 spirits on this ship. You may want to find one yourself. The Queen Mary is still open to visitors in Long Beach, California as a hotel and a restaurant, and for tours. Every Halloween there are spooky mazes and even a costume ball. Halloween would be the perfect time of year for a visit to the world's most haunted ship.